Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I feel like it's been forever since I've recorded a video for my channel. I had my massive what sold video, or my massive thrift haul video, excuse me, and then I do need to still put out my latest what sold video. But today I wanted to hop on and kind of record my thoughts about the cross-listing service Vendoo. I have heard so many people online, specifically on YouTube, talk about Vendoo and how much they love it. And Vendoo sponsors different resellers on YouTube to talk about Vendoo and how great it is, but I wanted to give my honest review of it. I subscribed for subscription, 250 inventory items into Vendoo. I actually already had an account several months ago. It was this year, but a couple months ago, I made an account on Vendoo and I imported 5 listings from my Poshmark. And I actually already sold a few of those, but I deleted all of those once I made my subscription. But I'll start at the beginning. I signed back into my account on my computer and I was looking through their subscriptions, and I decided the best one for me would be the 250 items a month, because that's around how much I put out. And if it ends up being more or less, I think I can always change my subscription, because I didn't sign up for a year-long subscription because I didn't want to commit fully yet. And I think for 250 items, it was $29.99, if I remember correctly. And then though, on top of that subscription, you have add-on options. And so there's one that's $5.99 or $4.99, around that amount, that is a relist and delist add-on. So that's an add-on to your account. That's another tool, resource that you can use if you add that on to your subscription. And then the other add-on was cross-listing. It lets you cross-list on all of the platforms that they are able to cross-list with. And I don't know which ones without that subscription you can cross-list with, but there might be one more actually. But I got all of the subscriptions, and you can pay a bundle price for the extra add-on subscriptions. And so I did all that, and the total came to around $49.99 a month, which isn't too bad. The cross-listing service I was using before was PrimeLister, and I really was liking it, but I heard a lot of good things about Vendoo, specifically their automatic sales detection system, which would be super helpful for me, because every time I make a sale on one of my platforms, I go to the other platforms and manually delete it. And usually I do it on my phone, and specifically Depop. That is really hard, because on Depop, there isn't a search button to look up specific inventory, at least on your phone. On your computer, you could do that, but on a mobile device, you cannot do that. And so I have to just scroll through to find the item and mark it as sold or delete it. And so I was really interested in their sales detection. So I subscribed, and actually PrimeLister, their cross-listing service, they have 2 services. They have the cross-listing service, and then they have their automation. So they have relist, delist, share, like, follow, all that stuff. And then the cross-listing one is $30, and then that one is $30. So overall I was paying $60 a month. And then recently PrimeLister upped their cross-listing price to $49.99 a couple of months ago, or maybe it was longer than that, but I noticed that they were charging me more. Switching over to Vendoo, it was about the same price for me, so I don't really have any problems with the price. I just don't like the way that Vendoo put it. So, you have to choose the subscription, whatever one you want, and then you can add the add-ons in. I feel like it would be so much better just to have the subscription options, how much inventory you can put in during 1 month, and then have those add-ons, the extra features, already included in those prices. I just feel like it would be a better business model. I didn't like the fact of add-ons. It just didn't sit right with me. I feel like I'd be a lot more willing to pay the full amount if I just knew it was included in it, because $49.99 isn't too much for me, but knowing that it got to that amount because of those add-ons is just kind of annoying, So after those steps, I went onto my Vendoo account. That's where I saw that I had 5 listings from a couple months before. You get 5 free listings, by the way, without a subscription. And I deleted all of those. And then it had my eBay up. And I'm pretty sure I already had signed into Depop, Mercari, Poshmark, and eBay through Vendoo. But it had my eBay up, and there's a button on the left-hand side of your screen that says import items. And you can only import a certain amount at a time, and my limit was 250 because I only get 250 uploads a month, where Vendoo will only store 250 uploads a month. I uploaded 250 items from eBay, and I was like, oh, this is great. But then I quickly realized that it's not going to show because I didn't use Vendoo to cross-list my previous items on all my other platforms. I have to manually put it in. And so on Vendoo, since I uploaded all those items from eBay, it had my 250 listings, not all of my listings, but just 250 of my listings from eBay. And it said that I had them all listed on eBay. It didn't say I had them listed on Mercari, Depop, or Poshmark, which is fine. You can add that in manually. You can click listed and then you add the URL code, the URL website that shows up on your computer when you're looking at one of your listings on all your other platforms. So you can do that manually for each item, but that would take forever. I uploaded 250 items, right? And Vendoo didn't recognize that I had them listed on my other platforms. And so what I would have to do is I would have to go manually in, and it would be 250 times 3. I don't know how much that is. 250, 500. It'd be 750 times. So 750 times I would have to put in a URL code to show that every item is marked on Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, and Depop, if that makes sense. And so I was super frustrated. I thought, okay, I didn't need to upload my eBay listings. What I really needed to do was create new listings either on Vendoo or on one platform throughout this month that's coming up. And I usually do around 5 to 10 listings a day, and then use Vendoo to cross-list my newer items, right? Not looking at anything in the past because it'd be way too long. But then I worried that if I were to delete an item, that Vendoo would still recognize I had used my 250 items. So I tested out, I deleted one of my 250 imported items from eBay, and I thought, okay, I deleted one, and then I pushed the plus button to add a new listing, and Vendoo showed me a message that said, you've already used your 250 listings for the month. And I started to get really worried because I paid $50. And for Prime Lister, I already paid like a couple days ago towards the end of August for another month of Prime Lister. And so I would have paid double a month, $100 for only using one cross-listing tool, not two. So I basically waste $50. And so I was really kind of freaking out because Vendoo couldn't do anything for me for a month. I kind of dabbled in posting a few of those listings onto Facebook Marketplace, but I thought to myself, I don't want to list on Facebook Marketplace. I just don't want to waste those 250 items. So on the bottom right-hand side of Vendoo, there's a chat button, and I typed into the chat button, hey, and I explained my situation to the woman, or I assume it was a woman. I think her profile picture looked like a woman. And she understood my situation completely, and she set my counter of 250 items out of 250 items back to 0 out of 250 items. And so my previous 250 items, or 249 items because I deleted one, were still there. But now my counter was set back to 0. So throughout this month now, I can cross-list using Vendoo. I'm not going to start my listings on Vendoo just because I have my listings on my phone and I don't know how phone-friendly Vendoo is. And so I'm just going to start on Poshmark, then import my daily listings from Poshmark, and then use Vendoo to cross-list on Mercari, Depop, and eBay, if that makes sense. So, it all worked out in the end. I'm really glad that that worked out for me, but you can't go back and delete a listing. If you've uploaded an item, if you've uploaded a listing, then that counts as one of your listings. You can't delete it and change it in for another one, which is kind of interesting, but I get it because you could use Vendoo for their cross-listing tool and then delete that item and then just upload another item and then cross-list, so you can take advantage of this system. So now let's get into the actual cross-listing service. It took me some time. I've been using Vendoo now for a couple of days and I've been cross-listing. I really like how Prime Lister cross-lists. You click the item in your Poshmark store and then you click the little side arrow and then you click eBay, Mercari, Depop, and then any of the other platforms that you use, and it will auto-generate 3 new tabs on your screen where you can list that same item on all your other platforms. Well, on Vendoo, you're still in the same tab and you just click on the side panels like eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, and whatnot, whatever ones you're using, and it'll show up and then you fill out all the stuff. So it's about the same. It was a little bit difficult for me. I took a little longer on Vendoo the first couple of days, but today when I tried cross-listing, it wasn't as difficult for me because I'm better at figuring out how Vendoo cross-lists now. When you click on an item in your inventory though, and this is what you do when you want to go cross-list an item, there's also a little tab for, Vendoo, and then you can upload that item onto Vendoo or something. But if you save it, it counts as another one of your items for the month. So just be very careful of that. Be very wary of that. You don't want to be stuck in the same situation I was. At first glance, when I went onto Vendoo, I thought, oh my goodness, this is very overwhelming because I am not computer techie at all. I mean, going onto a website isn't computer techie, but I just felt so overwhelmed by the website. They have a whole page of YouTube videos that give you help but I just didn't want to take the time to watch those YouTube videos, right? I like to figure things out and hope that they're easy. I was a little overwhelmed when I first went on to Vendoo just because there is it's a new platform, but I do think it's pretty user-friendly. It could be even more dumbed down for people like me. One thing about Vendoo that is a little bit annoying, and this is just particularly for me, since I use Depop, I cross-list my items to Depop, and Depop, if you know, doesn't have a specific section within your listing for the title and then the description. Depop only has the description box. And so when I'm cross-listing using Vendoo, it'll auto-populate the stuff for me, right? All the information in the description box, but it won't include my title because Depop doesn't have a title spot. And that's one thing that Prime Lister did. It automatically recognized that Depop combines their title and description area. So I now have to manually click on another platform where it has the title and it wasn't deleted, copy it using Control-C, right? And then I have to click back onto Depop and then do Control-V, and then just add that title line above where my description starts in that description box. And I mean, it's not that big of a hassle. It's not that annoying, but the fact is I keep forgetting, right? Because I'm so used to the fact that Prime Lister did it for me automatically. And so that's been a little bit difficult. We'll see how it goes. I think Vendoo is worth trying out, especially if you are a newer reseller and you don't have a ton of inventory. I wish I had started Vendoo way earlier on, because at this point now, I have around 500 or 600 active listings. And so the thing is that I can't use Vendoo's automatic sales detection system because my items are in their inventory. If, per se, I never reached out to that customer service lady and she set my count to 0, then I would be stuck with my 250 items from the month of old listings from eBay. And I would manually put in 750 URL codes, and then Vendoo would show 250 of my old items. And then if one of those items sold on any of my platforms, Vendoo could use their automatic sales detection system on them. But I'd only get 250 a month. I can't do that for all my listings because I only paid for 250 a month. I don't want to go higher than that. And I still have listings to cross-list this month. And so if I were to catch up to, all my old listings, I would have to do 750 plus because that's just for 250 listings. So I'd have to do that 750 times 2, which is just so crazy. It would be so many URLs having to move over, and it would just really be a hassle. Another thing I could do is delete my listings from all my other platforms and then upload them from eBay and then just cross-list them through Vendoo. And then my items would reappear on my other platforms because the same listing was deleted. But then I can take advantage of the Vendoo service here and now, where I want to cross-list items that are coming in every day that I list, because I'm only going to pay for 250 items. And so the bulk amount of my inventory is not going to get automatically sales detected because it's just not in the Vendoo system, and I don't want to take the time to put it in the Vendoo system, and I don't want to pay the money because I don't have the amount of listings available. If, though, you have a solution to any of these problems, then let me know down in the comments, because I have been trying to figure out how Vendoo works, and the only solution to this is that I'm just going to have to not have the automatic sales detection for those 500 to 600 listings, and then just look forward to that feature on newer listings going forward. I'm on box T now, and for my inventory system, I only want to have A through Z boxes. I'm getting closer to Z. A smaller part of my inventory is going to be on Vendoo, and so only less than half of my inventory is going to get that automatic sales detection feature, which is a little bit frustrating. I definitely would recommend Vendoo if you're first starting out where you don't have a ton of items, because then Vendoo will work wonders for you. But I think for me, as someone who already has a pretty established store, that Vendoo isn't a website or a cross-listing service that you can easily transfer to. I really like Prime Lister. I still use Prime Lister for their automations, their constant daily shares, and adding my listings to Posh parties and stuff like that. But I'm not going to be using their cross-listing service. I'm going to see how Vendoo goes for this month of September. I'm going to see if I want to keep it. It is about the same cost as Prime Lister, and I thought on Vendoo that it would be faster and that I could use, that automatic sales detection tool, but I can't. I know there are other features on Vendoo, like the stats. I think there's like a pie chart and a graph that helps you keep track of things that sell and for how much. I recently learned a feature today of Vendoo where on the tab where you're going to go cross list and the Vendoo tab or the little Vendoo icon on the side. When you click on that and it pulls up your listing, you can actually put in how much you paid for that item. And so Vendoo will keep track of that as well. But that is something that I don't really need because I already have a spreadsheet for that on my Google spreadsheets. And Google spreadsheets is not going anywhere, right? If I discontinue my Vendoo service, are those stats going to still pull up, and they won't even be relevant to me anymore because, you know, new inventory is coming in. My store is still adding products, removing products, even long after Vendoo. I just think that Vendoo might be a little more trouble than it's worth, even though the benefits are great. Let me know what you think of Vendoo, and thanks for watching this video. I would love a comment down below if you have a solution to my problems. That would be really great. Or if you have any other cross-listing services that you like. I'm just thinking I'm going to switch back to Prime Lister after this month is over. I actually canceled Prime Lister, like I said, at the end of August, and so I basically have 2 cross-listing services for September, so I'm paying double. So I should have been more careful about that, but I kind of just automatically assume that I pay every first, but that's not true. When you start a subscription for something, it starts, I believe, the day that you started that subscription. So 1 month's time between every date, and it's not necessarily the first of every month. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully. Bye.